Now to another disturbing story. Attorneys representing Breonna Taylor, the black emergency medical technician that was shot and killed by police officers in her own home, are accusing the Louisville Metro Police of using false information to obtain the controversial no-knock warrant. A postal inspector in Louisville has reportedly confirmed that the Metro Police did not use his office to verify that suspicious packages were being sent to Taylor's home. The inspector also says another agency had been asked to look into the matter and had concluded that no packages of interest were being sent there. It comes after claims from the LMPD that the suspect they were looking for, used Taylor's address to receive those suspicious packages. Tessa Duvall has been following the case since it broke. She is a reporter with the Courier-Journal in Louisville and joins us now. Tessa, let's start with the Louisville Public Safety Committee. There is a hearing scheduled today for Breonna Taylor's case. What's the purpose of this meeting, and what are you expecting to hear from those testifying?
Absolutely. So this is a chance for Breonna's family and attorneys to speak directly to council members. They say that they have not really been heard that much up until the last couple of weeks when this case really started getting a lot more attention. And so what we expect to hear this afternoon, one of the big things that we're just learning is that, their attorneys, or Taylor's attorneys, are arguing that had LMPD followed its own policy regarding high-risk warrants, which they argued this is based on their own standards, that SWAT should have been involved in the process. But SWAT was not at Breonna Taylor's apartment the night that she died. So I think that is going to be one of the big policies that's really scrutinized at this hearing.
So at issue in this case are two sort of controversial practices, right? One is the no-knock warrant, and the other is the stand your ground laws. Just explain the argument to us and tell us why Kenneth Walker is sort of caught in the middle of this.
Right. So in addition to Breonna dying that night, another part of this that is extremely controversial is that her boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, is being charged with the attempted murder of a police officer. According to Kenneth and his attorneys and attorneys for Taylor's family, Mr. Walker and Breonna heard a banging on the door. And, what they say and what neighbors say is that police did not knock and announce that, Breonna and Kenneth would have had no way of knowing who was actually trying to get into their apartment. And, saying that he believed they were intruders, Kenneth picked up a weapon and fired one shot. Now, one of the detectives who was serving this warrant was shot in the leg, and that's when police say they returned fire. And so you have this sticking point of, did police knock and announce or did they not? And if they did not announce themselves, some people say that using stand your ground castle doctrine, Kenneth Walker had every right to protect himself, and that therefore he should not be charged with the attempted murder of a police officer. And of course, that all hinges on the fact of, did they knock, did they announce? And so, there is precedent that in situations like this, juries decide not to convict someone in these situations. And, experts say this is creating a situation that, they're almost surprised it doesn't happen more often because of, the danger that using no-knock while also having laws that allow homeowners to use deadly force to protect themselves, it just creates this kind of conflict, in and of itself.
So one of the things that we've been talking about is this no-knock warrant policy. Mayor Fisher announced earlier this week that he would be changing it. What does that change look like? And would the change that's upcoming, would that have been enough to prevent the death of Breonna Taylor, or at least to prevent the police actions?
So that's up for debate as well. So one thing that we know about existing policy is that there is already some oversight on who and when police are able to get a no-knock warrant. So what Mayor Fisher and Police Chief Conrad are saying is that this new policy will add another layer of protection, if you will, that now before a no-knock warrant is issued, either the police chief or his designee will have to approve this. At the same time, there's also discussion, because this policy has not been written, not been finalized at this time. There's also discussion around the fact that should SWAT be involved in no-knock warrants? If they are dangerous enough to justify a no-knock, should SWAT officers also be involved in this case? And so there's a potential that SWAT could be mandated to get involved in these situations. But what Sam Aguiar, an attorney for Breonna Taylor's family, is saying is that under existing policy, which has a risk assessment done before warrants are served, based on who police believed also may have been at Breonna's home that night, it should have already justified a SWAT presence. And so that's his point of contention, that this new policy, while it's an added layer of protection, there already should have been adequate protection for the night Breonna died, and police just didn't act on it.
I also know that the Courier-Journal is hoping to get the 911 transcripts from the night that Breonna Taylor was killed. Do we know how that's going?
So right now, we have been denied those records. We put in a number of requests for reports related to the night that Breonna died. And often in situations like this, what government agencies and law enforcement will do is deny things, citing an ongoing investigation. Of course, it is the position of the newspaper and our reporters and our attorneys that this is not enough, that situations like this require more transparency and the public has a right to know. And so we, the Courier-Journal, are appealing these denials to the Attorney General's office and hope to get the release of these records sooner rather than later.
All right. Well, I hope you get them. Good reporting. Thank you so much, Tessa.
Thank you.